Welcome back to Jedi Enclave. I'm Daniel, and holy shit, there was a trailer for a small independent film called Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. You've probably never heard of it, but people are losing their collective shit over it. We're going to break it down frame by frame, catch as many Easter eggs as possible, and talk about some theories. You know what would mean a lot to me is if you would like this video, subscribe to our brand new YouTube page, and leave a comment if you're so inclined. We love Star Wars nerds because we are Star Wars nerds. We've got a podcast pretty much wherever podcasts are sold. Ours, of course, is free. And we're on Facebook and all of the socials kids are doing these days. Okay, let's get sweaty. Our trailer opens up with a couple shots of Rey running through the jungle. This looks like an extension of the training scene that we've seen in other trailers. She drops a blast shield helmet, or at least I think it's a blast shield helmet, and it looks like she gets a shot from a remote, kind of like the remote that we see in Star Wars: A New Hope, where Obi-Wan is training Luke how to be a baby Jedi. Rey makes this brilliant jump over this cavern, and probably one of the most awesome transition cuts I've seen in a trailer before, cuts right to her mid-jump on what looks like Death Star wreckage. She looks very pleased with herself, like she had just accomplished something very cool. We see a shot of Finn looking at something through his space binoculars. He looks pretty worried. He's on a planet we've seen already in the previous trailers. Next shot, Rey running through the jungle, probably some more training. She's on a jungle planet. It's hard to tell what it is. Is it Yavin 4? Star Wars has this really weird habit about making one climate planets. So we've got a desert planet, and then we have a desert planet, and then we have a snow planet, then we have a jungle planet, and then sometimes we even have a city planet. So it would be nice to see a planet with more than one climate, and it's hard to tell what particular planet this is. Probably something new. It's important to note here that the previous couple of sequences, there's a voiceover from Finn that says, "It's an instinct, a feeling, the Force brought us together." We then pivot to a really cool shot of a Resistance base meeting. If you look closely, you can see Poe, Finn, Chewie, someone who I think is Admiral Akbar's son, C-3PO, something that looks a little bit like a soldier from Endor. There's a big furry guy, and of course there is the one and only charmer himself, Lando Calrissian, in his yellow shirt, black cape getup from Solo: A Star Wars Story. We see a shot of Rose. She looks like she's talking to someone who's about to leave. Right behind her is the character that Dominic Monaghan is playing, as well as Billy Lord. In the same shot, you can see the new, I guess, horse things that are in Star Wars are called Orbaks. And I noted that Rose looks pretty dirty. It looks like they've already seen some action already by this point in the film, so this probably isn't anything that's early on. Next shot, Poe, Finn, and Chewie. They're standing next to an orange X-Wing, which I assume is Poe's. Of course, his X-Wing in Last Jedi got blown the fuck up, so he went from a stealth, all-black X-Wing to an X-Wing with bright orange on it. I'm not sure what that's about, but they don't look like everything is going super well. They look a little worried. We pivot to another shot on the jungle planet. Yavin 4, not Yavin 4, we don't know yet. And it's of the gorgeous Tantive taking off. It's this great shot. I'm not sure about. I mean, it looks like the Tantive 4. And I thought that it got destroyed. You would think that the Empire would destroy it after they captured it in Star Wars: A New Hope. But anything's possible. It's J.J. Abrams. He can do anything he wants. During these last few scenes in the trailer, we hear voiceover from Poe that says, "We're not alone. Good people will fight if we lead them," hinting at the fact that they are obviously trying to put together a fighting force to fight the First Order, or the Empire, as we will see a little bit later. We see a great part of the Death Star wreckage scene that we saw from other trailers. It's Rey looking out at the end of the walkway that she's on. She looks a little surprised, and you see this big wave of mist, and then this awesome kick-ass shot of Kylo Ren just emerging from the mist. He's wet as fuck. He's got his lightsaber. If all the movie looks like this, like if all of these shots are so well composed, it's going to be a kick-ass movie. Like I said, Rey looks a little surprised. Maybe she wasn't expecting to see him. Over the last couple of seconds in the trailer at this point, there is some voiceover from Rey that says, "People keep telling me they know me. No one does," which kind of hints at the fact that she is feeling a little misunderstood, and probably deservedly so. The answer that we hear to that line is from Kylo that says, "But I do." And now this sounds a lot like the conversation they had at the end of The Last Jedi, before they fought over Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber, where he says, "You're nothing, you come from nothing, but not to me." A fairly good bet for me, at least, that Kylo's probably in love with Rey at this point. I don't think she's in love with him back. I think she's probably going to pass on that and probably go for Poe. But it seems like he might be a little conflicted about his feelings with Rey. So this next scene we see can be best described by me as a giant iceberg. It's kind of a weird shot. It looks like it's on some water. There's some reflection at the bottom, and there is a metric shit ton of TIE fighters flying toward it. And it looks to me like most of them are first order TIE fighters. They have some of those red markings from the Special Forces TIE fighter unit, I guess, that they set up in Force Awakens. Okay, we hear some voiceover from Palpatine. It says, "Long have I waited, and now your coming together is your undoing." Now, while he says this, we get this gorgeous shot of this stone throne. And if you know anything about the concept art of Star Wars as it has developed through the ages, it looks like an exact copy of something Ralph McQuarrie drew for Return of the Jedi. And I'm thinking that there's only one person that can be sitting in this chair. The only Sith that we know that sits in chairs so well is probably our boy Emperor Palpatine. We're not sure what condition he's in yet. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, though. Next shot is a Star Destroyer. It looks like it's kind of an old school Imperial Star Destroyer. It looks like it's been in storage because it kind of like rises out of a layer of ice and soil. So maybe, I don't know, maybe it was in cold storage, if you get what I mean. So we get a shot of the Resistance fleet. And this is one of the more visually engaging shots of the trailer. There's a lot going on. If you look carefully in the Falcon there, right in the middle, the fleet is being led by Chewie and Lando. The Falcon looks like it has a new dish, a new radar dish. Probably not the one they had, because I'm pretty sure that thing is lost forever. But I mean, how many shapes can a radar dish actually be? They probably just bought a new, round one. These are the ships that I saw, and some of the ships that some of my friends saw. You see the Ghost from Rebels. You see Han's freighter that he was flying in The Force Awakens, or at least the ship of the same make and model. A Virginal class bunker buster, a Nebulon B frigate, or at least one Resistance bomber, a Republic frigate, the Profundi from Rogue One, a Hammerhead corvette also from Rogue One, the Vigil, some U-Wings, or at least one U-Wing also from Rogue One, a Lancer-class pursuit craft, a Wookiee gunship from Rebels, and a Dornian gunship that's also from Rebels. Now, there's probably a lot more that I missed there. So if I missed anything, or maybe if I got one of these wrong, let me know in the comments what you caught, and we'll be talking about it later, I'm sure. So we get a shot of Rey and Chewie that we saw for the trailer of the trailer, which that's the world we live in now. We get trailers for our trailers. And it looks like they've got an inside joke happening. They kind of look at each other a little bit. I had to note that it happened right as Poe is walking in. So I'm starting to think that maybe there might be something cooking between Rey and Poe. We get some more shots of some fighting on the Death Star wreckage. It's nothing new. A new shot of an explosion with a Star Destroyer in the foreground. Now, it's really hard to tell the scale of what's being blown up because, I mean, you're in space. It's infinite space, so you don't know how far away it is. It could be a planet. It could be a ship. I really have to think that it's not a planet. I don't like the idea of the Empire having another planet-killing machine. It's kind of a tired trope in Star Wars. I'd like to see them, use some kind of other tactic to win their battles. So this next shot looks like a water skiff that's in the water near the Death Star wreckage. It looks like it's rushing toward where Rey and Kylo were fighting. I think it's Finn, and I think this will probably connect to one of the shots that we'll see here in a second. Before that, we have 3PO's big moment, probably one of the things that people are talking about the most in this trailer. Now, he's being worked on by a droid technician called Babu Frick. He's a little guy. Looks like he's a puppet. If you look really carefully, you'll see a B-1 battle droid in one of the shots. He's being watched by BB-8 and the new droid Dio. And Poe asks him, hey, what are you doing? And 3PO says, "I'm taking one last look at my friends." And it cuts to another shot of him and R2 that's from a different scene. That's not from the scene that they're in, I don't think. Listen really carefully. They quote a little bit of Yoda's theme at this part of the trailer.
What are you doing there, 3PO?
Taking one last look, sir.
as my friends.
Now, this could mean nothing. The composer of the trailer just could think that it's cute. Like, it's a very cute theme. It would be fitting for 3PO, but I'm sure that there are some conspiracy theorists out there that might read into that a little bit. And to be honest, I'd be tempted to read into that a little bit too. Man, we got Chewie, Poe, and Finn, and they are running and gunning, baby. They are running through what looks like a corridor of a Star Destroyer or some kind of, like, I don't know, First Order installation. They are fucking shit up, and there are dead stormtroopers everywhere. And let me tell you, I am here for this movie just because of this part of the trailer. I'm here for it for a lot of reasons, but like, I would pay money just to see Chewie, Poe, and Finn run through a Star Destroyer and just kill everything. God, what a great team they would make. So we see this other shot of Leia and Rey from the trailers. I have to note that Carrie Fisher has an interesting role in this film. She, of course, tragically died before The Last Jedi premiered. They're using deleted scenes and dialogue from The Force Awakens, I think probably a little bit from The Last Jedi. They've already said they're not doing any CGI recreation of her. So I have to think that most of her sequences, if not all of her sequences, are just going to be dialogue only. I can't imagine she did any action sequences, and that would be very hard to do without recreating her as a CG model. So we'll see kind of how that works in. It looks beautiful. I mean, she looks great. So we see Poe, Finn, and the droids escaping from First Order troopers on Pisana. They're on kind of a sand skiff. They're running from them. It looks like BB-8 has this like really great idea and launches what seems to me as some kind of firework gas that we see in the trailer, in one of the earlier trailers that they're using to celebrate. There's some kind of festival happening, and he shoots that thing up, and it creates a big dust cloud, and it kind of obscures their escape. And we get a shot of Finn looking very, very pleased. Chewie and Lando, we've already seen from one of the other trailers. And let me just say real quick, 80-year-old Billy D. Williams has more pure sexual charisma than anyone in the entire universe. That dude can chew a scene, and he looks so good in this movie. I'm really excited to see what he's up to. You got a Y-Wing eating some ties. He's just kind of blasting through them. It looks like he's flying toward the hangar bay of that Star Destroyer. So I don't know if he's trying to pull like an Independence Day kind of a thing where he, flies up into the whole thing. I'm sure there's a better word for that. The cargo bay. There you go. And is going to blow it up. You have our new character Janna leading an attack force on the horse things, or as we call them, Orbaks. Looks like she's got Finn and some other friends with her. I don't know if they're resistance. I think they might be there with her from wherever she came from. Now, it looks like they're in the hull of a ship. And I'm not sure how that is possible, because you would think that they would be in the vacuum of space. Another shot of this old throne room that we see from Return of the Jedi. It's Rey and Kylo, and I noted that Rey's lightsaber is drawn, but Kylo's isn't, so it makes me kind of wonder if Kylo is there to talk to her. Now, this echoes another piece of concept art from The Force Awakens. I'll put it up in the video. It has a lot of the same composition, it's just not underwater. So that's a pretty interesting, it looks like they're kind of recycling some of the ideas that they had from the earlier sequel movies. Now, okay, this next shot, a lot of people are going to be talking about. It's Kylo and Rey in this very white room. I can't tell if they're working together or not, but they're kind of attacking this little column thing that looks like it's somehow connected to Vader's burnt mask from The Force Awakens. If you look really carefully, Rey is absolutely holding a dagger in one of her hands. So I'm interested to know what kind of dagger this is. Now, if you know anything about some of the leaks that have been coming out, you kind of already know a little bit. That is, if the leaks are true. Now, this thing could be a misdirect. I'm not sure if they're actually working together. I'm looking around on the floor, and it looks like there's some rubble on the floor. So maybe this is in the middle of a fight. Now, there's something about this interior that's really weird. It's very clean, but it looks like it's old. And there's a thing here, I'll put it up in the video, that kind of looks like a part of Vader's meditation chamber. I'm not sure what it is. I mean, of course, we'll have to wait to know. We see some more Orbak action on the hull of a Star Destroyer. Now, it looks like they're possibly within the atmosphere of a planet. This would still be very uncomfortable for people to be in without some protection, so who knows. I did notice that BB-8 is with them, and it also kind of looks like this turbo laser might be shooting at the other Star Destroyers. And then you get a nice shot of the new TIE fighters, the TIE Dagger. And then we get to the money shot, which is a hooded figure in this same stone throne room that we saw before with Rey. If you watch really carefully, this hooded figure has some slight movement. So it looks like he might be in a chair, or maybe he's got like little spider claws that are moving him. We presume it's the Emperor. Now, that's kind of the $1 million question here. Is the Emperor back? Did he survive Return of the Jedi, which I think is just so laughably unlikely? He could be in a clone. He could. It's really hard to tell. Could be an imposter, and that's probably a little least likely. Right over this here, you hear some really great dialogue from my boy Luke Skywalker saying, "Confronting fear is the destiny of the Jedi. Your destiny, the Force will be with you." And then everybody's princess, Leia Organa, says, "Always." It's a really neat thing that they had her finish that line. It makes me wonder why. I tend to read into things a little too much. So this could mean a lot of things. Now, go ahead and let us know what you think. Did we miss anything? Did you see the trailer? Did you like it? You have to be excited about this movie. And I know that there are some Last Jedi haters out there, and I know that you guys have some very valid concerns about The Last Jedi. But this trailer, I think, should excite anybody. It looks like they're doing a really good job on it. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, join us on Facebook, join us on Twitter. I think we have an Instagram even, where we have a podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, SoundCloud. We usually have extended cuts of our conversations, Chris and I's conversations. So it's a pretty cool way to get some additional content. Anyway, let us know what you think. And always remember,
the ability to speak does not make you intelligent. Now get out of here.